2013 for the Town of Morris to order. Town of Morris noticed a public hearing on local law number 1 of 2013, local road use and preservation law. Notice was hereby given that the town board of the Town of Morris will present to the public at a public hearing local law number 1, local road use and preservation law. This public hearing will be held at the Townhouse at 7:30 p.m. on the 12th of February 2013. At such hearing, any person may be heard in favor or against any item or items therein contained. A copy of this law is on file at the town clerk's office and is available for inspection by any interested persons during the clerk's regular office hours, Wednesday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. By order of the Morris Town Board, Linda E. Ewan, Town Clerk and Collector. Open the floor up for comments.
Make no mistake about it, this law is all about gas drilling. What other construction activity has ever needed a law to regulate the use of our town roads? Many of us as town residents do object to $8,500 being spent to protect our roads and not a farthing spent to protect our health and safety. If gas drilling does, God forbid, come here, who will guarantee road safety? Thousands of trucks, mostly driven by roustabouts, and in parentheses I've said of the 10,000 jobs created by the natural gas industry in Pennsylvania, 7,000 were filled by out-of-staters, mostly from Texas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana. Will fill our roads with day and night traffic. The experience with these trucks in Pennsylvania has shown that the drivers have little regard for local speed limits and safety rules. Is the highway superintendent ticketing for these two? There also has been a problem with overturned wastewater trucks and accidents on the roads where our EMT personnel will have to respond at their peril. How are we protected against these? Looking just at the expense of this whole operation, extra duties for the highway superintendent, the employment of a consulting engineer, extra court costs, etc., where does the community benefit? The small fines that would be required for violations of this law are insignificant to a multi-billion-dollar industry, and putting up a bond does not help us if we have to go to court to settle a dispute. The bottom line is that we know you will pass this law, but we would ask you to go one step further and reconsider a ban on horizontal hydrofracking in our town, as our neighboring towns have done. With a ban in place, the negative consequences of gas drilling to our roads and to our health and safety would be non-existent. I do have a few photos to share with the board, which I've already passed out, and would ask that all be entered with my comments in the minutes of this hearing. Thank you.
I am not in favor of local road use and preservation law number 1 because it does not really protect Morris's roads from high-impact, concentrated traffic as it promises. According to Delta's website, this road use program, which Morris has purchased, quote, gives municipalities a technically sound, step-by-step framework to address damages from such traffic and to recover appropriate costs from the parties responsible for the damage. New energy initiatives such as wind farms, natural gas exploration, and pipeline construction are just some of the situations that can lead to traffic not foreseen when most local roads were built. Damages to local roads from such activities can lead to repair costs far in excess of local highway budgets, end quote. So this law is being written specifically for the anticipated activities related to gas drilling, and it is not adequate. One reason I say this is because the road use law will be enforced according to Section 9 by the town highway superintendent, code enforcement officer, or law enforcement officials. Because we do not have any law officers in Morris, we must rely on our town highway superintendent. His job will be expanded to include monitoring the conditions of the roads, investigating and reporting complaints that he or any citizens finds, issuing notices of violations, handing out appearance tickets, and ordering the person or persons alleged to have violated the local law orders to cease and desist. He's going to do this in addition to all his other duties? Really? Another reason I say this law has no real worth is because the fines are so low. Since violating the law costs you only $500 for the first offense, $800 for the second, and no more than $1,000 for the third and subsequent, I anticipate the highway superintendent will be issuing many notices of violations. These are very small fines for an industry with deep pockets. These fines for violations of the law are no deterrent. As I've previously stated, Morris does not have the manpower to enforce the law. The DCE's own study, consulted out to Ecology and Environment, Inc., identifies that local governments would experience, quote, some significant negative fiscal impacts, end quote, due to fracking, including, quote, road construction, improvement, and repair expenditures, expenditures on emergency services such as fire, police, and first aid, and additional expenditures on public water supply systems. Local governments will be required to increase expenditures on other services, such as education, housing, health and welfare, recreation, and solid waste management to serve the additional population, end quote. This is what the DEC says about negative fiscal impacts of fracking. The DEC, which you had said would protect us from harm. The only thing that will really protect us from the negative fiscal impacts of fracking is a ban. And that is what Morris needs, a ban on hydrofracking, not a local law for road use to be ignored and abused.
Hi.
Excuse me,
Yes, ma'am. Yeah?
your name is?
Hi, I'm Heidi Stanton. Hi. I also object to the road use agreement, and let's see. I find it unconscionable that this town board has chosen to turn its backs to the citizens, ignoring the requests for protection from this toxic criminal activity known as hydraulic fracturing. Section 3 of the road use agreement, stating construction activity, it lists permits such as sludge disposal, dewatering permits, which remove millions of gallons of water. And where will that water come from? Waste transport permits, permits for cleanup of hazardous and toxic waste. The requirements in Section 6 for concentrated traffic. The applicant shall defend, indemnify, and hold the town harmless of all losses resulting from injury or death of persons or damage to property arising from the applicant's upgrades and repairs to town highways. And Section 9, enforcement of penalties, states that for the purpose of conferring jurisdiction upon the courts, the judicial officer, generally the violations of this local law shall be deemed misdemeanors, and for such purpose, only provisions of the law relating to misdemeanors shall apply to such violations. These misdemeanors and fines of $500 up to $1,000 to a multi-billion-dollar corporation is akin to a mosquito bite on a fire-breathing dragon. In closing, I just want you to know that we will remember the decisions that the board makes, and we will hold you accountable. And just a note, this just happened, and I just want to make you aware. The Times Online mentioned that in Youngstown, Ohio, there was 20,000 gallons of suspected frack wastewater, which was dumped into a storm sewer that empties into the Mahoney River. This happened on January 31st at 7:30 p.m. this year. According to the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency Pollution Incident Report, DNL Energy was dumping the wastewater into the storm sewer, which empties into the tributary, which feeds into the Mahoney River, which joins the Shenango River to form the Beaver River. This can happen to us. Thank you.
My name is Christine Marshall. I'd like to call the board's attention to page 6 of the proposed road use law, where it states, in order to comply with the requirements of this section 6, an applicant shall have the option of entering into a road use agreement with the town. A sample form of road use agreement is on file at the town hall. The sample form road use agreement may be amended from time to time by resolution of the town board, with any amended version replacing the prior version on file at the town hall. The applicant may ask to modify such form or propose a different form of road use agreement, but any such agreement must be in a form approved by the town board and also approved by the town attorney as to form, sufficiency, and manner of execution. This clause appears to make this proposed road use law bypassable in its entirety. This proposed law and the sample form of a road use agreement on file may look completely different than the actual agreements forged now or in the future. This road use law provides no minimum protection for the residents of Morris from massive environmental or fiscal responsibilities which would be incurred from excessive road damage or hazardous environmental spills.
Anybody else? Any of the board members have any?
I think, just, I'm new to the board members, but I'm not new to Morris. I've been in Morris all my life. And I have probably as much to risk, if not more, than anybody sitting here. And I think this road law is a good start. And if you haven't read the paper, some of these towns that have passed the moratorium are being sued by the gas companies. Now, wouldn't it be wise to find out how they make out so that we don't put Morris into that or through that, expense-wise?
Actually, anytime you put a ban in place, it could also be immediately rescinded. So I don't think, or a moratorium. Mm-hmm. So no, I don't think that it is a risk.
It gives you time, especially a moratorium, at least gives you time to investigate it further. And there's no fault in that at all. It shows that the board is concerned and wants to look at both sides of the issue.
I think the board is concerned.
Advocates for Morris has brought to the board's attention at previous meetings free legal aid with much expertise and much experience, willing to offer many, many hours to support the town, have they chosen a moratorium or a ban.
But also we have a very small showing here, and we don't have any pro-drilling people here. Do we?
They could be.
Okay, let me interrupt here. Bill's new to the board, okay? This is a public hearing, it's for the public to make comments. Okay, it's not a question and answer, you know, or that type of form. This local law is strictly, it does not state gas drilling, it does not state any industry in particular. Okay, so it is what it is.
The permits that it talks about, though, seem heavily weighted toward the gas industry, dewatering, toxic waste hauling. It seemed quite slanted, at least in my opinion, that that's what it's referring to, and I don't know of any other industry, as Marilyn stated, that would require a law to protect us. A moratorium would be very decent, give us some time. That's all.
Well, this law will cover more than just the gas drilling aspect. You know, I mean, if this law was in place, there would be construction, large construction that wouldn't occur without getting permit. I mean, we had that situation. I mean, we built a new barn, had to get a speedies permit and all that kind of stuff. We fell underneath this. I mean, we had over 1,000 loads of gravel hauled in. You know, we've had, you know, tractor trailers come in, that kind of stuff. We fell underneath this law. A lot of you question the fines on this. Yeah, those fines are minimal. But the thing is this law and our ability is granted. We don't have that much. But the thing is they've also got to comply with the secret laws and everything else. So if there's that means they have to comply with this also. If they don't comply with this, then their permits get pulled too. You know, then there's enforcement on the state level.
I guess
Of this law. It's not just the $500. That's not going to stop them.
I guess what we are really concerned about is that there is not enough enforcement. Yes, this law might be in place, but neither local nor state has enough enforcement to protect us from this particular industry. So that's our concern, that it's not tough enough for...
But I mean, as far as what we can do, you know, this is something that does protect our investment in the roads and whatever. We do have some say on it. You know, in that respect, you know, this law is, you know, you can oppose it, that we don't have, you know, and we can say, okay, you're against it, we're not going to pass it, then we have no law, nothing at all. This does give us a little advantage. But, I mean, then at least you can manipulate the state in order to pull the license on somebody if they aren't complying.
We don't want this to be false security. We feel like there needs to be a ban. This is false security.
I realize it, but the thing is public hearing is on the road use law, not that's really.
I guess we're saying this is just false security.
I'm wondering how it's going to be enforced. Does the truck have to go through town how many times, or does it have to stop someplace to be weighed or accounted for? How are you going to monitor what vehicles and where they get ticketed, how they get ticketed, who does that process? What is all that part? Because if you don't have that part, when this law goes into effect, it is no good.
When they do, when the seeker gets done in order to get a license to drill and everything else, and then they follow this, then we're going to have the engineer. I mean, they're going to have to pay for our engineer to come and establish whether the roads are even capable of handling what they want to put on it by this law. And correct me if I get wrong on this, if I'm wrong any place, but I mean, and then it's the engineer is going to determine if anything has to be upgraded before they can use those roads. And
they will pay for that, Jacob? They're to pay for that. That's not where we have to pay for upgrading so that they can maintain it.
They're going to have to upgrade in order to use it, utilize it, and pay for somebody to upgrade it by this.
But still, how are you going to? I just can't understand how
This,
it will be enforced.
it's not question and answer, okay? It's strictly comments on the law, okay, as it is written.
On the law itself, okay.
I guess we've just never had a question and answer. We've never had an opportunity where we could ask you questions and then get to this part where we could then comment. We've never had an opportunity to ask you these things.
Actually, I appreciate
Yes, so thank you for answering questions.
so. Again, with if I may, the Times Union stating that this spill happened, that's just this is just very recent. That's something that happens. I know that there's monitoring that can go on according to the road use agreement once a week. But I'm curious how once a week one would be able to potentially catch a company dumping 20,000 gallons into a creek if the monitoring is only once a week. So it's good to have some things that give the town the power, but I think perhaps it should be tweaked a little tighter.
When is the vote taking place? Or it's not a vote? It's not a vote, it's just something that will be enacted?
The board will act on it tonight.
It's all be, go ahead.
I'm not from Morris, but I just, so if it's voted down, you have no regulation whatsoever?
Correct.
What happens then? I mean, you have to rewrite something. I don't know, because it's either the townspeople accept it or not, or there's
This law
nothing.
was probably a year and a half in the making. It was a coalition between the county and participating townships. The uniformity of laws within the county is a very critical issue. So one town has basically the same law as the adjoining towns because of the mobility of heavy truck traffic is not limited to strictly one township or another township. It's mobile throughout. And it's a group effort. And it was formulated by a law firm working with Delta to form a template, and then was modified by local attorneys from all the participating townships. And this is the product that was created.
Wasn't it Oneana though? Was it Oneana that turned down this very road use agreement? I know it's a question, I'm sorry.
I don't know.
It was New Lisbon?
I don't know about any Lisbon.
I'm just-
New Lisbon created their own law prior to this even being started.
It just seems to me that there are towns around us that are passing moratoriums and bans everywhere around us.
We're dealing with
I know,
local
but this
law
is the
number
road,
one.
I know this is the road use agreement, I just, I feel that we're a bit behind.
Since the board's been looking at putting a road use law in place, I know that budgeting is very precise, especially for such a small town. Has any added funding been allotted to enforce all of that?
There has been nothing earmarked.
Is there room for
I'm going
something?
to get away from the question and answering period here.
Okay. I would just advise that the town check into the fiscal implications of something that is obviously related, that's all.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I have a comment. I think it's very highly arrogant for the newest town board member to claim that he has more to lose here than everybody. I just want to point that out to the public.
I apologize if I offended you.
Okay? Wasn't a question, it was my comment.
It's a fact.
It's a fact. Okay, duly noted.
Okay. The comments or on the local law number 1.
Okay.
I think that if you have offenses, that they should have stipulations for the type of offense and the type of damage that can be done per offense. I would say roughed out to possibly better penalize the actions of specific types of very dangerous infractions.
I agree.
If there's no further comments, nobody has any objections, I'll
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
close the public hearing. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
I have a few of your names down. I'm sorry I'm late. I've been at Lord's Hospital all afternoon. So if you would fill in where I have blanks, if I don't have your name down. Oh, you've got one? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. All right, that's super. Then let me just give you the one for the next meeting, okay? Does this belong to any of you folks?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I didn't realize you had to quick word.
I didn't do it yet. I'll get it when it comes out.
Finish with the financial one.
Yeah. Most dependable one. Transmission covering out. You just build the bell house now, you can see the flywheel all the way around it. All four.
I'll call the regular meeting to order. Are there any additions or amendments to the minutes of the last regular meeting?
I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes.
Is there a second? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Minutes adopted. Are there any alterations to the minutes of the organizational meeting?
I'll make a motion to adopt those minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion carried. there any comments for the regular meeting?
Yeah, it was on, it was up by Rupert Sampson's. They came down from Richfield, trying to take the drive shaft off it. Took out airlines, had to release the brakes by hand. And of course, take some truck and take one of them things in, so it still had 3/4 of the sand on it. Yeah. We told him to go down 10, put him on 23, but he came down the county road instead. That's that truck there. Yeah, it's back in service now. Tire change. Okay. Comstock? Yeah, it's tire change.
Transmission, huh?
Yeah, actually, that's not even that bad of a,
No,
that money is that kind of a cost.
I didn't think the tone was bad
no, I
either.
thought that was
No.
cheap.
For what?
Chuck's is pretty good.
I just had, I just in that van, they want $3 grand or $600 for a little van out there. So that's pretty good. Well, thank you, John.
About 2 weeks he had it. Which that surprised me too, how quick we got it back. It was nerve-wracking. You had to buy parts, put it back together to see if anything else is wrong with it. But I think we made out about best case scenario once it was busted. for a truck. And then, yeah, the stuff in the middle is the urea additive into the new trucks. Yeah, the new one that just came in. Tax exempt. Which helps a lot, yeah. It's about 4 times what it was last month, but it has to do with, it came after the first, so we got 3 deliveries in January, only 1 in December. It deflated last month's number and inflated this month's. So you just started work on that?
Association for tax collectors. Association for
That's the rental for we have a heater on each tower.
Magazines, but I keep up on some of the latest stuff that's out there, and I haven't gone to any meetings, They've had some helpful tips in the magazine. Keep sharing the latest laws that are out there.
Yeah, but it sounds different.
Oh, well, yeah.
That the whole transfer station?
Yes, that's consultants.
So, yeah.
That's for the month of January.
I was really told her that. Seems like Bob, like the whole town.
That gives how we break down, that's the fines from the court. That's Bradford, it's
Jack.
Jack David, Bradford.
No, that was one he came in and fixed, and he measured up and was gonna do a quote on the rest of the doors. Yeah, we had one coming off. He's got measurements and supposed to give us prices, he hasn't done anything, but I'll give him a call. have a copy of the bill, put in the file for that truck.
The agreement, it's his bill for any legal stuff that he does for the water district is to be paid by the water district.
Yeah. Make a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay the bills.
I second it.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion carried. Last month's meeting, Lynn Joy volunteered to be a member of the Board of Assessment Review. At the village board meeting last week, they approved his appointment to the Board of Assessment Review. At this time, I'd like to bring his name up for appointment to the Board of Assessment Review. Is there a motion indicating so?
I make a motion that we accept this appointment.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion carried. Regarding local law number 1 for 2013, local road use and preservation law. Open the floor for discussion on that. If there's no discussion, I'll entertain a motion adopting local law number 1 of 2013.
I'll make the motion to adopt local law number 1.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Local law adopted. Finance Committee reviewed the financial reports for the month of January 2013 of the supervisor and court collector. John?
Well, we're staying busy. We had a truck go down, we got it fixed. We really don't have anything for this month. I asked the boys if they had anything they wanted me to bring forward. It reminded me to thank you for giving them a clothing allowance and picking up some new safety, high visibility stuff over at the Dolphins. Some of it had to get ordered and it's not all in yet, so I don't have a bill. I'll bring you forward a bill next month, but they appreciate it. I don't have anything else.
Is there any other business?
None, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Is there a second?
Second it.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.